Jonathan, do you ever get angry?
Sure, I think everyone gets angry.
Yeah, sometimes people say that we shouldn't get angry because we're Christians.
Yeah, but you know, that's not true. Even Jesus got angry.
Yeah, that is true. Anger isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a feeling, an emotion. You can't always control what you feel.
But you can control your actions, and learning how to deal with your anger is really the key.
Learning how to turn it into something positive, not something negative like revenge.
Yeah. Anger and revenge. That is what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Alicia.
And this is Real Faith TV. Colleen is in the spotlight today to tell us about how she deals with anger and the safety net that her faith gives her when she feels hurt and angry.
Our music video is by the Christian rock band GS Megaphone and is called Use Me.
We will talk with our studio guests, but first let's see how the teens on the street deal with their anger.
I'm like really into athletics and stuff, so really when I play sports, that's the way to get rid of my anger.
I like to play paintball, shoot BB guns, play video games.
I play ice hockey and I spend a lot of time in the penalty box, so that's how I release my anger.
I go walk off all by myself and just go by myself.
Confront them sometimes.
I kind of keep it inside, usually. Sometimes a little yelling, but not a lot.
I'll either talk to them or just punch a pillow.
Go to friends for help.
I just talk to like my family and stuff and my friends.
When I get angry, since I have no one to talk to usually, because I don't like telling people my problems, I usually just talk to the air, pretend like it's God, I guess.
If I don't talk to my friends, I usually listen to like sappy kind of music. I know it sounds stupid, or I write poems because that's the only way I vent.
I used to deal with it, like I would hold grudges, you know, and just keep like mad and for a week, and then after a while I would just, you know, stop. But I had an experience, like sort of like a life, death, whatever you call that experience, and I had to argue with my mother, and I just don't even bother with anger. It's just like brush it off.
Everyone reacts differently when they're angry. Let's find out how our studio guests deal with anger.
Good idea. Let's meet them though. They are Sarah, Ross, Vanessa, Nicole, Powell,
Hey.
and Margot.
How do you guys feel about anger? Do you think it's a sin?
I don't think it's a sin. I mean, everybody gets angry. It's normal to get angry. I think if you act on it, if you like act on your anger and get revenge on somebody, I think revenge is a sin, but anger, no.
Anger is just another feeling, so it can't really be a sin. But like Ross said, if you take revenge, then that could be a sin depending on how you do it. But just being angry, if you let it out the right way, then it's not a sin.
Yeah. I think everyone's angry because everyone's human and you can't control your feelings. But how you act on it, that's the real key, like I said before. You know, you just have to find a peaceful way to get rid of your anger.
Mm-hmm. Everything you do is a reaction. So if somebody else does something that's bad, you have to like choose how you react to it. But your feelings are just natural because that's part of who you are. So it's not really a sin.
Yeah. Anger could be an indicator that something is wrong and that we must take action.
We become accountable for our anger when we do nothing with it. That is to say, if we just let it grow and fester.
Or if we treat someone badly because of it.
How we deal with our anger is important. There are plenty of ways to use your anger constructively without hurting others.
How do you guys do this?
I think a lot of times, like, to deal with my anger, I either write or, I mean, music's always like a huge vent for me because, you know, if I'm like in a good mood, I'll listen to a certain type of music. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm gonna listen to something else. So I think a lot of it is just in the way that you can channel it and use that energy towards whatever you need to do with your day. So.
And a lot of times it helps to just talk to someone, like just vent to someone and let it all out. And a lot of times, like I do it to my sisters, and I just do it all out. Like they don't say anything, and then I'm like, okay, thanks, I feel better. You know.
Yeah. Like the kid on the street said too.
Guys.
Like the kid on the street said.
Anger going on here.
I'm gonna get angry if I don't talk. He hits his pillow. I go up to my room when I'm angry. I hit my pillow. I think that's a good way. Just let out your anger.
It is.
Yeah, just try to like think about why the person did that. Like, you know.
Before anyone else talks, okay?
When you're
Margot
angry,
has something to say.
I'm gonna get angry, guys. No, when you're angry, like go to the source. You know, if you're angry at something, it's your bad day, or you know, whether it's yourself or somebody else, say it. Say this is what I'm angry about, and try not to go around and take your anger out on everybody else because you know, yeah, you need to share it. You need to you know, let people know how you feel, but don't start ruining everybody else's day just because you're angry. You know, try and control it. Keep it calm. Try and get out of the mood. You know, but don't hold a grudge.
What I do is I like to talk to my dog. You know, I don't think she hears me because she's like deaf, blind,
That's understandable.
50 years old. But she just sits there and looks at me like, "You think you have it bad? I sleep outside." You know, she's like, she listens to all my problems. You know, she doesn't tell me anything back, but it makes me feel good. I'm like, all right, thanks, Goldie. Talk to you tomorrow. That's her name, by the way.
Well, that's what it's all
cute.
about.
It's probably a good
that's
idea
cute.
because sometimes when you're angry, you don't want someone to be there. Oh, it's okay, you know, to try and
gonna
calm
ruin
you
her
down.
day,
You just want to say, no, I'm angry. Listen to me.
mean-
This is what I'm feeling, you know. And that's probably
It's
the best
also
thing.
whatever makes you feel good too, right? So,
Exactly.
You should always eat. Eating is good when you're angry.
Yeah, eating is good all the time, right?
Yeah, I just talk to myself, and then like I figure out myself, well, what's making me angry? Oh, I'm angry because of this. It's like two different people, and I just say, oh, this is why I'm angry. This is how I'm going to deal with it, and then I go and do something that I enjoy, so that I don't take it out on the wrong person, and I deal with it. Now let's meet Colleen, who talks about anger and a particular experience that made her angry.
Let's check it out.
I just finished my freshman year. So in high school, I mean, there's cliques. Everybody knows there's cliques and there's not cliques. I mean, but some of the girls and guys can be rude and obnoxious, and they would say things to you to get you ticked off, to get you mad, to get you, you know, angry with them. You know, people would spread rumors about things that you did or the way you are. Like, a lot of times people would just say, they would tell me like stuff like I don't know. A lot of kids would say like I didn't belong or whatever because I'm not with a specific group of kids. You might have belonged to this big group or whatever in school, and if one person's mad at you, you know, you're out. And then you get angry. I mean, it's just natural. You get angry and you don't like who you are anymore.
It's so hard to keep your cool when somebody's trying to make you angry.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to get angry on like stupid little things, like being left out of a group or something.
According to Merriam-Webster, revenge means to inflict harm or injury in return for a wrong.
Now, I think that would be considered a sin.
In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus calls us to love your enemies and pray for your persecutors.
This means that we do not seek revenge, but offer forgiveness and love to those who hurt us.
We asked some teens we met on the street if they ever wanted to get revenge on someone.
Have you ever been so angry with someone you wanted to get revenge on them?
No, not really. I'm like really friendly with a lot of people. I have. If they're like really mean, I'll do the same thing back to them so they know how it feels.
Were you so angry with someone that you wanted to get revenge on them?
Not really. I don't think I've ever been that angry. I love revenge.
I didn't talk to him for days, or I don't know. I had other people like not talk to him that were friends with him.
It could be like they just took your French fry or something, and you just like, oh, I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you back.
What does your faith teach you about anger and revenge? Anything?
Don't be angry.
Basically, just like let go and forgive.
And just, you know, let things go and pass. I mean, always stick up for yourself and, you know, state your problems, but don't hold a grudge against anybody.
Anger, just to deal with it, and revenge, don't do it. You said, well, God, love everybody because we're all God's children.
I think we've all been in a situation where we've been angry and revenge is a tempting option for us to deal.
Yeah, I know. It's like human nature, just like anger is. You know, you want to get back because you feel bad about yourselves, right? So you're like, well, if I feel bad about myself, if I'm angry, well, I'm going to get that other person back. And I like what the last kid said. He was like, we're all God's children. You know, we should remember that before we think about even doing anything for revenge.
Sometimes our response to feelings of anger should be put off until we've had sufficient time to reflect on how God would want us to behave.
What would Jesus do in the situation? And how would he want others to deal with us if we were the perpetrator?
Have any of you ever felt like you wanted to get revenge on someone?
Yes, a lot. But it all like depends on how we work it out, you know. You have a feeling, but don't act on it.
You know, I try and think of someone makes you upset. Oh man, what could I do to make them feel just as bad as I did? How can I let them know what it feels like? But then you have to sit back and think, no, why would I want to sink down to their level? Try and be better than them. Try and keep your cool, keep it calm, take it in, let it pass. Don't, oh, thanks for making me feel bad, but don't go and do the same thing right back to them.
I mean, you also have to think about how important it weighs out, like, with your life. Like, is this that important that I want to risk this friendship or whatever the case may be? If you would want to risk that to just get some petty revenge,
And also, you're prolonging your anger, and if you let that anger sit in your heart, then it'll start to eat away you, and it will start to show in other areas of your life.
And then it creates more anger with whoever.
You guys ever wake up in the morning and you're like, for some reason you're angry? Does that ever happen? Like
every morning.
I don't want to wake up.
I wake up every morning and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
You got to go to school. You're just like, oh man, just let me sleep.
Teddy bear. When you wake up and you're just angry and you just take it out of everyone. Like your mom says good morning, you're like, yeah, whatever. And your brother says like, oh, do you want to eat this cereal? And you're like, get away from me. Instead of like keeping it in and just being mean to everyone else, maybe you should just go, you know what, I'm having a hard day. Go back in your room and hit a pillow.
Start again.
Yeah, start again. Start everything over.
Yeah. And when somebody does something that makes you angry, like a little sister or something like that, you can't have revenge or whatever, because it starts this big cycle of, revenge. I do this to you, you do this to me, and it never stops. You'll notice that it never stops.
I mean, I know it's much easier said than done. We're all sitting here having a good time right now. We're not all angry at each other. But, when the time comes up and you're in the situation, just try and keep it in mind. Stay calm. What do you get out of revenge, really? How does it make you feel? You feel, oh, yes, I got revenge on them. Now they feel bad. Okay, now what? It's done.
That moment. It's the momentary, I got him back. Yes, look at me, good for me. And then
they get you back.
Yeah, and then you're
there we go.
And then you got to think of another way to get him back. It's terrible.
Or sometimes if you really hurt the person, then you feel really guilty that you did it, and then you look really stupid.
It's progressive too. You have to get worse each time.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it really is.
Exactly. And like Margot said, it never accomplishes anything. Like if I'm at lunch and Jonathan steals my snack, and I get so mad, and I want to punch him in the face. What does that accomplish? I don't get my snack back, and
then you get in trouble.
Then I get in trouble, and Jonathan's hurting.
And then I steal your
that's
lunch
not right.
the next day.
Exactly. It's a whole cycle.
All right, guys. How difficult is it to resist giving into this revenge, though? Is it hard?
Well, everybody thinks about having revenge on someone, but you have to think about what would Jesus do? He wouldn't have revenge. So then you would have to put it past you, start over again. Like we were talking about before.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's hard, like I don't know, someone just beat you up, right? You're not gonna think like, oh, what would Jesus do? No, it's like my first reaction would be like, to fight back, but I don't know. You just gotta practice.
Remember when Jesus always said, turn the other cheek, right? Someone slaps you, just give them the other side of your face. And that might be hard for us because someone punches you or beats you up, everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna beat him up, me and my friends. But you gotta remember, just let it die. Be like, okay, I forgive you.
That was good.
The ultimate scenario. I mean, Jesus was dying on the cross for us, and he wasn't going to say, I'm going to get revenge on you who crucified me. No.
I'm going to strike you down. No.
Absolutely not. He said, let your will be done. Whatever happens, this is what's meant to be. So take it and roll with it.
And he asked God to forgive the people who are doing this to him.
I always think that's so amazing. That's what I always think about when I'm having trouble forgiving someone that, did something to me. I always think about that. If Jesus could forgive the people that were, killing him, then, my thing's so petty.
Mm-hmm. If you compare the situations, they don't match up, so it's not even worth having revenge.
Yeah.
It only makes you a better person to be able to take it anyway. What do they say? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
Yeah.
Character.
Forgiving and showing love does not mean letting other people do harm to others. We are required to protect others every bit that we are required to forgive.
That's right. That is where mercy comes in. When someone is in need of punishment, it should be done the most merciful way possible.
The Catechism of the Catholic Church says that we should always do what we can to protect the dignity of all human beings, even sinners and criminals.
But we also have to remember to take care of ourselves. Don't deny the anger. Feel it. Work through it so you can eventually be free from it.
I know a way I can free myself from the anger is through prayer.
I know what you mean. Prayer is so powerful. Next, Colleen talks about the importance faith and prayer plays in her life when she has to deal with emotions like anger.
I would sometimes get to a point where it's like you get so frustrated with, what's going on, and you really don't have an outlet. And then it's like your faith is right there. You come along and you're just asking for, somebody to hear you, somebody to just listen. The way that I would deal with it was I would go to church on Sundays, and just ask for God to give me, just the patience to deal with them. Or I would go and I would write down stuff, or I would just say a prayer to help me, get through the day. So, that's how I dealt with it. It was hard though.
What advice can you give to other teens who feel that they've been wronged and are wanting to get revenge on someone?
Well, first thing I would say to them is think about what you're going to do before you do anything. Think about it, because because you're in the rage and everything, you might want to do something, but when you think about it, you'll know, that might be a really bad decision, and you might get into a lot of trouble for just doing that. You also have to remember that, once you do something, it's done. You can't take it back. I would also suggest, writing in a journal, because it helped me a lot. If you just write down, even just jot down a few, things, it's some place where you could go and you could just write, lay everything out on the table, just write what you feel, or you could pray. Praying's always an option. Prayer was a major outlet for me because it was something that offered me, someone listening. Because I didn't really want to talk to an adult, because it was just the way I felt. But, there were instances where I felt I had no place else to turn, and I got so frustrated, so angry. I didn't know what to do, and just knowing that I had prayer and I had the power to, just nobody even had to say anything back. It was just the fact that it was there. It just felt comforting. It was a good thought to know that somebody was listening. My faith, it gives me the confidence and the strength to just keep going. Every day, it's a new struggle, I guess, but it's I have a safety net there. My faith is my safety net. I can always fall back on it. It's always there. It's never gonna, it's impartial, it'll always be on, it won't take a side, but it's something's there. You have something to fall back on. I just figure that, if Jesus Christ, this guy is nailed to a cross, if he gets and he's persecuted and all this stuff, if he's getting nailed to a cross and he can still stay up there and be what, I forgive everybody. And what, I can forgive a few people for the stuff that they did to me. So I just figure that's my big lesson.
I really like what Colleen said, that when she's angry, she just writes, and that's how she gets her anger out.
Yeah, and she's right that when she has nowhere else to turn to, no one to talk to, she always has her faith to fall back on.
Yeah, God's always there. Mm-hmm. How does faith and prayer help you guys deal with anger and resist revenge?
I think prayer is always in the forefront for many different things, but for this, for example, I always say a little prayer, especially if someone's confronting you and trying to get a reaction out of you. Mm-hmm. Just say a little prayer, for patience to deal with whatever you're dealing with or whatever. It's always there to help you.
Mm-hmm. I think prayer is a guidance through whatever your situation is at that point. So I think it's a really useful way to figure out your problems.
Exactly. Before you do something you regret, somebody does something to you and you get so angry and so caught up in the moment, and revenge looks so good to you because you know that if you do something bad to them, you'll get the satisfaction for that moment. But if you think about it, you have to hurt them to get that satisfaction, and that's not something that Jesus would have done. Mm-hmm. So your prayer can help you just overcome that temptation and not do something you know is wrong.
And when you're angry, prayer is a great way to calm you down. That you can always talk to God. He'll always listen. And if all your friends are against you, he's not. So then prayer is a good way to calm yourself.
Yeah, he's always there for you. like Colleen said, she was afraid to talk to her parents, and you know, she felt like weird. You know, you guys must feel weird sometimes when you're angry or it's a sensitive subject. You know, you're not gonna go up to your parents and be like, wah, wah, wah. You know, you can always go to God because you know He already knows it. He knows what you're angry about, so why not talk to Him about it? You never know, maybe He's gonna give you some guidance back, and usually He does.
And there's always this like peace that follows prayer. So a lot of times if you're worked up and you say a little prayer, it puts everything in perspective and you can deal with it, and you're much calmer.
Yeah.
Exactly. You look around at the beautiful world that God has given you and everything. You see that the little trivial thing that you're angry about really isn't that big. You just pray to Him, thank Him for it. It's very soothing.
Prayer is awesome, right?
Totally.
That's so cool, yeah.
Keeping God as one of your closest friends, you know, that's the one person you're never angry at. You never want to take revenge at. He's always there for you. He's always, you know, you can always talk to Him. There's no anger in that relationship. It's the happiest relationship you should have.
But there can be anger in a relationship with God. You know, I've been angry at God. I think everyone here has been angry with God, right? Have you know?
You can feel somewhat betrayed or something.
Yeah, like, you know, something you really want doesn't happen, or someone dies or gets sick or something. But you got to remember that we don't understand everything, what God's plan is for us, and we shouldn't be angry with Him. We should talk to Him, and maybe He'll give us some insight into our plan.
Yeah, it happened a few times that I was talking to God, and I asked for something I thought was good, but it never happened. I was like, you know, God, why'd you answer my prayers?
Yeah. I think we've all been in situations where our faith has had to overcome our anger. And we have to put our energy into letting God work through us instead of acting out in anger.
Yeah. I agree.
Our video today is called Use Me by GS Megaphone.
Time and again, in this truth there is no debate. My life I love, but my flesh I hate. I want you to use me.
That video was really intense. It reminds me of when I'm angry. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it was some angry music, huh?
It's kind of like, you know, they're saying when we're angry, we shouldn't spend the time trying to plan revenge, but rather let God use our anger to kind of make it positive and share the message like, be merciful, you know, be forgiving.
He says instead of having foolish pride, just use me. Don't let me get caught up in this. While anger can be warranted, revenge is never excusable.
We pray in the Our Father that God will forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
That means that we are asking God to forgive us the same way that we forgive others.
So if we make a habit of taking revenge on people instead of showing mercy, we're asking God to do the same for us.
How do you deal with your anger?
We want to know. Contact us through our website.
Post your thoughts on our message boards or drop us an email. Our address is realfaithtv.com.
If you're not connected to the internet, you can call us at area code 609-406-7402.
And remember, on the cross, Jesus asked God to forgive the people who were responsible for killing him.
And he expects us to do the same. Our job is to love and forgive. It is up to God to judge.
Thanks for joining us today. We will see you next time
on Real Faith TV. God bless.